All right, everybody, welcome to Boston Sports Live, another Wednesday night edition. Mike Felger here, and we are now joined by Jay King of MassLive. He covers the Boston Celtics, so we'll be doing a lot of green teaming tonight, Celtics fans. So we'll be doing that, but whatever you want, as usual. Next 15, 20 minutes, we can open up to any of the NFL stuff from the last couple of days. Bruins, always welcome. Whatever you guys want. You hit the fan line in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Treat it like a sports talk radio show, except we get to see your pretty face. Jay, I like to say to everybody, we only have one rule, and that is if you reach to show us your unit, we're going to drop you. Otherwise, pretty much anything goes.
I don't think I'll do that, man.
No. So
I'll try to stay away from that.
I trust you. It's some of our callers. You don't know what you're going to get there at any given moment. But again, folks, just hit the fan line in the upper right-hand corner if you want to join us, Celtics or anything else. But since we do have Jay King from Mass Live on the Celtics, I just want your thoughts on this team. And I will start at the end where I think the Celtics are going to be, which is in the end. Cleveland is done, and I think you're in the NBA Finals where you will get killed by the Golden State Warriors, but that's where I think this is headed. Am I wrong?
I think you could be right. I think the three teams, you look at the Eastern Conference, obviously the Cavs will be there with LeBron because they're always there. I think the Raptors, even though they've not shown up in the playoffs before, they're better than they've ever been. They've got a chance. And I think the Celtics, despite losing Gordon Hayward, they've got a really good team. And so I think they have a chance. I'm not sold they'll make it to the finals, but I do think they'll have a chance. And obviously it's a much better chance than they had last season.
Why do you still think the Cavs are going to be right there?
I just think they have LeBron. I mean, that's been enough the last 7 seasons in the Eastern Conference. He hasn't been knocked out in the East since Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett were still on the Celtics. That's the last team to knock him out. So it's hard to bet against a guy when he's been to it with Miami, been to it with Cleveland back in the Zadrunas. He's been to the finals with a lot of bad teams, and I think this team has more talent than some of the teams he's dragged there.
All right, I'd bet against LeBron here. I mean, I think the Cavs haven't been as weak as they've been since that year you're talking about, and the Celtics are probably I think maybe the best team in the East facing LeBron in those 7 years. So, I mean, I think those two things. I also think, Jay, they're done. And once LeBron knows it's not good enough, he'll shut it down and he'll quit. And I think it's just a matter of time before we see that here.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. But again, when's the last time he quit? Like 2009? Ever since then, he's dragged his teams to the finals. Didn't matter what happened. Didn't matter when Kevin Love went down with an injury. He still dragged the Cavs to the finals. I do think the Celtics are better this year, and I think they're better equipped to play good teams. I think they're loaded with length. They're loaded with athleticism. They're loaded with defense. So they have a much better chance at slowing down the Cavs, at slowing down LeBron. I just think the Cavs aren't as good, too. They don't have Kyrie anymore. The guys they picked up at the trade deadline, I know everybody was excited about that. It was Jordan Clarkson and George Hill and Larry Nance, like backups for the Lakers.
So this is my point. This is my point.
Those additions weren't a big deal. But it's LeBron. LeBron's the only reason why you trust the Cavaliers at this point. And it might be a good enough reason in the East.
Yeah, well, you heard it here first, Jay. Feel free to use it. You don't have to attribute it to me. The Cavs are done. LeBron's going to shut it down. You don't need to worry about them. You put Toronto on the same plane, though, you do with the Celtics?
I think – I mean, it's tough to trust the Raptors because of how many times they've fallen short in the playoffs and because of how many times they've gone to iso ball and they don't trust each other in close games. They don't trust each other in big games. This year is different. That's the best team they've had. I think DeMar DeRozan's better than he's ever been. Their bench is better than it's ever been. I think they're playing a different style this year. So they've been the best team in the Eastern Conference this season, the Toronto Raptors. Can they carry it over to the playoffs? That remains to be seen. I think Brad Stevens gives the Celtics an advantage in that potential series, and I think Kyrie Irving would be the best player in that series.
Well, you tell me. Do you take Toronto seriously? They're soft. They're a good home team, but they're generally a soft team and a playoff, underachiever.
It's another one of those things that's weird because they've always failed in the playoffs in the past. They failed against LeBron, and they failed against LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love, Cleveland teams that were really loaded. So you've never really seen them run into anybody else and not come through. So I want to see what they do. I don't trust them yet, but I don't necessarily trust the Celtics in a playoff series either. I don't trust the Cavs in a playoff series either. I think there are a lot of flawed teams at the top of the Eastern Conference, and I think Toronto's one of them that has a chance.
Why don't you trust the Celtics?
I just think they're young. I think when it comes to it, their bench, they got Marcus Smart here. Those guys have played some really good basketball lately. Sometimes they play inefficient, bad basketball. Their offense is mediocre, totally mediocre. Their defense, top ranked, obviously, but you're going to have to score points, and especially if the Cavs have another level to reach, and especially if Toronto does carry over its style into the playoffs, you're going to need to score points. And Boston has, I do think, another level to reach with their offense, but they're going to need to sustain it, and especially in the playoffs. Buckets are going to be tougher to come by, and they haven't scored consistently all season. Lately, it's been their best offense, and it's promising, but they're going to need to do it in the playoffs and do it throughout some tough series.
Okay, folks, again, you want to join us? You're free to. Again, treat it like a sports radio station, except we will get to see your face. Only, again, one rule, Jay. What's the one rule? Can't show us your Hogan, right?
Just don't show your unit.
Okay, no showing your unit. Anything else is pretty much go. You hit the fan line in the upper right-hand corner to join us, as Robbie in Vermont does. He'll pop up here in a second. We'll get to see his pretty face, and he can ask Jay King of Mass Live. Again, he covers the Celtics on a daily basis. Robbie, coming us to obviously when he's up, he'll give us his question. We don't see him yet.
It is a pretty face. Thank you.
What's up, Robbie?
So it's not in-season Cavaliers or even in-season LeBron that gives me any concern. It's postseason LeBron. You know that guy picks it up to another caliber of play come then. I don't think it matters what seed they fall into in the East. Come playoff time, the Celtics can never answer them unless it's 2008.
Okay, so this is true, but LeBron. So, and thanks for the call, Robbie. I don't know. I just think he's not going to go to the finals every year, Jay. And eventually, he's going to find out that whenever, and sometimes it's in the finals, but for the most part, when he finds he's not going to win, that's it. He doesn't burst through that wall, and I think he's going to find that out about the Celtics this year. And it may not even be the Celtics; it may be before he even gets to the Celtics.
I mean, what did he average 3 years ago when they lost to the Warriors? 36, 11, and 11 when they lost in the finals. What did he average last year? 33, 12, and 10, something like that. So it's not like he's ever quit since, 2009, 2010. It's been a long time since LeBron has failed to bring in a playoff series. I do think the Celtics have a better chance this year of matching up with them. Like I said, they've got big guys on the wing. They've got athletic guys. They've got strong guys. This is their team by far of the Brad Stevens era. This is their best matchup for LeBron, for specifically stopping LeBron. And the Cavs just aren't as good. So there's a chance. There's absolutely a chance that the Cavs don't have it. But it's tough to bet against LeBron, man. He's just done it for so many years.
Okay, folks, you can also comment. You can join us on the fan line, or you can comment down below as you see. Comments from Nate. He wants to know, and I don't know what any of this means, so you're a young whippersnapper on the internet. Maybe you know, Jay, but he says, what do you think of Janos and weird Celtics Twitter? I don't know what the fuck that means. What does it mean?
So Janos is some guy on Twitter who speaks broken English, and he's been commenting on Celtics blogs for 7-8 years, and he talks about how much soup he loves, and he's somehow got the attention of the Celtics front office. Danny Ainge was retweeting him. So Janos, whatever his name is, he's kind of become a legend of Celtics Twitter. I find it all entertaining. The weird Celtics Twitter entertains me, all of it. Hebert of Riffs, Janos, just a bunch of weird, strange characters out there in the interweb.
It's just a world I don't know about. All right, where do you stand on Al Horford? Is he worth the money? Is he a max guy? Is he someone that you look at and you say he's not worth the commitment that they've made in him, or he's a brilliant player who we just don't see the finer points of the game, the screens, et cetera, et cetera?
I think he's absolutely worth the max money. I think there are fair critiques of Al Horford. He's not ever going to be a guy you can give it to him in the post and tell him to go get a bucket. He's not going to be a guy who's going to isolate at the end of a game and go get you a bucket. And there are times when that's going to matter. I think from a standpoint of helping the team, from spacing the court to, he's a secondary playmaker. He's the third best leading assist man among power forwards and centers in the entire NBA. When he's on the court, the Celtics are 8 points per 100 possessions better offensively. There are just a ton of stats that point to his impact on the game. He's literally never been on a team that was less than 500. 10 years in the league now. He's always been on a winner. And I think he's a big, big piece of that. So, yeah, I think he's worth the money. He's part of the reason Gordon Hayward came to Boston. He's part of the reason the Celtics reached the Eastern Conference Finals. He's part of the reason why you think they're going to make the finals this year. So he's a big piece.
I didn't say that. I think they're making the finals going to Kyrie, because of Horford. And, yeah, he's always been on a winner, but he's never been on a championship team. He's never even made the finals, right? So, I think that's sort of the issue, and that's what the Gordon Hayward injury has brought, is that it's made more.
Who are the second best players he played with? Jeff Teague, Josh Smith, Isaiah Thomas, like he's never played with a bona fide true superstar next to him. This is really the first time ever that he's got a chance to play with a bona fide superstar in Kyrie Irving,
How do you
right?
feel about his play recently?
His play recently, I mean, he played 4 bad games. Houston, he was bad. He wasn't good. He had some bad turnovers. He had some missed shots. He definitely wasn't on top of his game against Houston, but I don't think that's a concern. The guy's he's been Mr. Reliable for 10 years. He's going to do the same thing almost every night.
Right, Andy in the comments wants to know, in your opinion, the most important bench player for the C's here.
Most important bench player, I think it's still Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart just does a little bit of everything. He lifts the energy. I think when he was out, you saw how much he was worth to the Celtics. Their offense dipped, their defense dipped. They went 6-5 without him. It was just they didn't have the same energy. As frustrating as he can be sometimes, shooting threes when he's one of the worst three-point shooters in the NBA, I think he just does so many things to help their team and give them a chance to win.
Agreed. I think you saw the value of him, Rozier, in the games that Smart was out and then the games that he came back in. And I think if the team has a decision to make in the offseason, Rozier or Smart, I go Smart. Where do you go, Jay?
I think that's tough. I think it depends on how much money.
Of course it's tough. That's why I asked the question. You give me one.
It depends on the money with him. He's going to be restricted.
They can only keep one. Who do you keep?
I'd rather have Marcus Smart long-term than Terry Rozier.
Agreed. And it's for the intangible things. And I just think Marcus Smart makes more winning plays. But if you say Rozier, I mean, I get that too. I just think they're going to have to make a decision. I think it's going to be one or the other. Jason writes in on the comments and says, are there times when the Celtics are better off with Monroe down low than Horford?
No. Al Horford is a much better player than Greg Monroe. Greg Monroe can be used to punish second-unit big men sometimes. I think that's the new dimension that he gives the Celtics, and I think Brad Stevens will have fun with that. I think you saw it against Houston. I didn't expect Monroe to play much against Houston. I thought Tice would be his lateral mobility against a team that shoots a ton of three-pointers. They brought in Monroe and just had him punish smaller big guys. And it's the first time, really, they've had a guy who can punish guys in the post. And so I do think Brad Stevens will have some fun calling on Monroe against when the matchup is right.
Jay King, Mass Live, covers the Celtics. You think we're going to see Gordon Hayward this year? I do.
You do? No, I don't think so. There's only a month left of the regular season. He still, as of a few days ago, wasn't able to cut on the basketball court. He's got so many steps to take, so long to go. I just don't see him playing again this season. And if he is able to play, I don't think he'll be close to the player he was.
Jay, the playoffs are 2 months long. So there's a month left.
If they make the finals.
They're going to make the finals. There's a month left.
There you go.
There's a month left in the regular season, and there's 2 months of playoffs. He's got time to come back. He's going to come back. They felt he had a chance to come back the entire season. Brad Smart, and look, I think it's dumb that they've allowed it out there. Brad Stevens about this thing, saying, no way, I don't want to hear about it, which is the way to go. But I think behind the scenes, quietly, they felt he's had a chance the whole time.
I just think from the beginning, though, an NBA doctor ruled he was likely out for the entire season, through the end of the playoffs, through the end of the finals. There's like a month, like I said, there's a month left of the regular season. If he comes back in the playoffs, how much is he going to give you? You remember Paul George, it wasn't the same injury, but Paul George came back toward the end of the regular season and he was nothing. He wasn't very helpful. So how much are you going to get out of Gordon Hayward if he does come back at some point in the playoffs? How much of an adjustment period is there going to be?
I mean, I agree with all that. I'm not telling you he's going to come back and be, Pete Maravich. I'm just telling you he's coming back. You'll see him. So I've given you now 2 things, Jay. You can use them.
All right, we got 2.
It's up to you. The Cavs are done. The C's are in the finals, and you're going to see Gordon Hayward again. Okay?
There you go. Some bold ones.
You can source me or not. You can use me as an unnamed source, background, however you want to do that. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. You can take it or not. Nicholas says, who's going to develop, more likely to develop into a true superstar, Tatum or Jaylen Brown?
I think Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum just has every skill you'd want. He can play inside. He can play outside. He already has one of the highest three-point percentages in the NBA. I just look at him. I don't see any real weakness offensively. I think once he gets stronger, he's just going to skyrocket. I think Jaylen Brown is going to be a really good player too. I think he has a really high ceiling. But I just think Tatum is more polished and more complete as an offensive player.
Okay, so talk to me. The last shoe to drop for the Celtics, what do you think their last play is in terms of becoming a championship team as you get to the offseason? Is it packaging and going after Anthony Davis? Waiting for the kids to get old. What do you think? Because there feels like there is one more, either shoot a drop or there's one more play. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I do think they need more talent. Honestly, they're a little unlucky that they're getting this good when the Warriors are one of the most talented teams in NBA history. So they're going to need more, whether it's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown developing. I do think they're obviously going to monitor what happens with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is an absolute superstar, one of the top 3 or 4 players in the world at worst. The run he's been on is outrageous. So they'll monitor what's going on with him, see what happens there. I do think they're a lot more comfortable now with their starting 5 than they were last season. Obviously, they went out and made a huge roster overhaul. But with Kyrie Irving, with Jaylen Brown, with Jason Tatum, with Al Horford, with Gordon Hayward, you haven't even seen how good this team's going to be. Once Hayward gets back, that's going to make a huge difference. And then Brown, Tatum, those guys will just keep developing. So I think they're going to look for a big guy, big star, whether it's Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, somebody else like that, if one of those guys comes free. But otherwise, just let the young guys develop and hope Tatum or Brown kind of raises your ceiling as a team.
Okay, Jay, we're going to put a wrapper on that right there. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Okay, folks, I am off next week out of the country, which means I'm not going to jump on the computer. So we'll catch you in 2 weeks here on the Wednesday Night Boston Sports Live program. Other than that, adios.